the Queen of the Nile, right, actually had her own Instagram account. Like, would she, I don't know, just like cancel Caesar? Or maybe go totally viral with like eyeliner tutorials? Or start a feud, perhaps, with, maybe the Kardashians? Welcome, by the way, to MindTalk AI. This is where, dead legends actually, they come back to, like, gossip. And today, I am truly honored and, quite frankly, a little bit terrified to be joined by Cleopatra herself.
Darling, please. The only filters I ever truly needed were gold and, well, power. Let's just begin, shall we?
All right, Cleo. I mean, let's dive right into Insta, shall we? Like, what are your initial thoughts on this whole concept of, influencers?
Influencers? In my day, my dear Alex, we simply called them gods. And I must say, they certainly had better lighting, didn't they? Less harsh, more, divinely flattering.
Right. Yeah, I get that. So, I mean, if you were around today, like, realistically, would you be one? Like, do you think you'd, jump into the influencer game yourself?
Please, darling, I practically invented it. I mean, have you ever heard of a soft launch? Because let me tell you, every single one of my royal processions, that was a soft launch. A very grand, very public soft launch. Building anticipation, a slow reveal of absolute magnificence. So yes, I think I would have been quite adept.
You know what? That's actually kind of true if you think about it. Like, you were definitely setting trends, you were making statements, and honestly, Cleo, I'm just gonna say it. I think you would absolutely, like, dominate Reels. Seriously.
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, I had my own fan clubs, long before your current cat videos became a thing. My cat, my royal cat, had a fan club, honestly bigger than some small nations. So, Reels, just another canvas for my, my undeniable charisma. And perhaps, a few, unfiltered glimpses of my my vast empire, to keep things authentic.
Okay, so speaking of, influencing and personal presence, let's kind of pivot a little bit. I want to shift gears, if that's all right, and talk about modern love. It's it's a whole different beast these days, Cleo. We've got dating apps, we've got ghosting, we've got this whole concept of red flags. What are your, like, initial thoughts on all of that?
Modern love, you say. Alex, my dear, it sounds rather complicated. Apps, you mean men, they simply swipe to find love now? Like choosing a new scroll at the library.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, you create a profile, you put up some pictures, you write a little bio, and then, if someone likes what they see, they swipe right. And if not, they swipe left. And if you both swipe right, it's a match. And then you can, like, talk.
Fascinating. So, no more grand declarations? No more, say, invading a neighboring country to impress a queen? Just a flick of the thumb?
Well, I mean, not usually invading countries. No, that's definitely a more Roman approach, I guess. But yeah, it's pretty casual for the most part. It's very accessible, though, which is, a plus for some people.
Accessible. How romantic. I must say, Alex, it sounds terribly efficient. But, when Julius Caesar wished to, woo me, he didn't just, swipe right. He had to, well, he had to invade a country, a whole country, just to, make an impression. That was a grand gesture, a true testament of affection and ambition. Swiping, it just lacks a certain je ne sais quoi, wouldn't you say?
I mean, it definitely lacks the military might aspect, for sure. But I guess, for most people, that's probably a good thing. We're not trying to start wars over dates anymore. But speaking of, things that are maybe not ideal, what would you consider a red flag then, Cleo? Like, what's a deal breaker for the Queen of the Nile?
A red flag, you ask? Oh, there are many. For me, a significant red flag is anyone who doesn't know the difference between a scepter and a staff. I mean, honestly, it's basic regal etiquette. Or someone who assumes my beauty is merely superficial, rather than a reflection of my intellect and power. That's a major red flag. It shows a lack of discernment.
Noted. Yeah, knowing the difference between a scepter and a staff? That's a good one. I don't know how many people on dating apps are putting that in their bio, but maybe they should. And what about this concept of ghosting? Have you heard of that? Where, someone just stops responding. They just disappear.
Ghosting. My dear, I don't ghost. When I'm done with someone, they know it. There's no ambiguity. There's no vanishing act. I simply curse them. Or, send them to work in the mines. Or perhaps a particularly inconvenient unannounced visit from a very large snake. No, I prefer a more definitive conclusion. The idea of just ceasing all communication, it's terribly cowardly, isn't it? No courage, no conviction, just silence. I find that utterly unbecoming.
Wow. Okay. So, definitely no ghosting from Cleopatra. More of a direct, supernatural, or physical consequence. I think most people would prefer ghosting over a curse or a snake visit. To be fair.
Perhaps, but at least they would know. And knowing, my dear Alex, is always preferable to lingering uncertainty. In my court, clarity was always paramount, even if the clarity involved, a rather unpleasant fate. And also, I'd say a red flag is someone who isn't willing to truly listen. Someone who thinks they know everything, or someone who doesn't appreciate a good strategic alliance. You need someone who understands the game. Love is, after all, a game, wouldn't you say? A game of strategy, of influence, and occasionally a bit of dramatic flair.
I mean, for you, certainly, it sounds like, it was less about like romantic connection and more about geopolitical alliances and power moves, which, very different from Netflix and chill, as we call it these days.
Netflix and chill? What in the name of Ra is that? Does it involve significant political maneuvering? Does it secure access to vital trade routes, or perhaps a larger army? Because if not, it sounds, well, frankly, rather unproductive. In my time, every interaction had a purpose, every relationship a strategic advantage. It wasn't just for mere amusement, though amusement, of course, was a delightful byproduct. But the purpose was always paramount. I I find it difficult to fathom, simply existing with no grander scheme in mind.
I mean, for most people these days, it's mostly for amusement or companionship, Just finding someone to share experiences with, to enjoy life with. Not necessarily for expanding an empire.
To simply share experiences and enjoy life. It sounds rather quaint and perhaps a touch vulnerable. In my world, vulnerability was a luxury I could not afford. My relationships were always about strength, about securing my position, my children's future, the future of Egypt. So yes, the idea of just, being with someone for no other reason than mere affection, it's quite a foreign concept. It sounds like a significant risk. What if they don't prove useful? What then? Do you simply swipe left on them in real life?
Well, I mean, you can, you can break up with them. You can, decide not to see them anymore. But yeah, you don't really get to banish them to the mines, thankfully. So it's a bit less high stakes, I suppose.
Less high stakes. Exactly. And that, Alex, that is why I find it so peculiar. Where is the thrill? Where is the strategic brilliance, the absolute necessity of it all? No wonder, people speak of red flags and ghosting. It sounds like a battlefield of emotional skirmishes without the glory of actual conquest. And, back to those red flags for a moment. Another major one, someone who can't hold their own in a debate, or who has, shoddy fashion sense. My standards were rather high, even for the most powerful men in the world. And believe me, they knew it.
So, fashion sense is also a red flag. Got it. And, I guess a lack of conversational wit, too? That makes sense.
Precisely. If one cannot stimulate my mind, then what, pray tell, is the point? One must be engaging, intelligent, and of course a little bit dangerous, just enough to keep things, interesting. Not like a dull tapestry, but a vibrant, ever-changing mural.
And, speaking of fascinating insights, my dear listeners, if you are absolutely loving this royal roast that we've got going on here, and just all of Cleopatra's incredible takes on modern life, please do us a huge favor. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and drop a comment below. We really want to know. Like, what do you think? Would Cleopatra truly rule TikTok? Or would she find a way to cancel it entirely? Let us know your thoughts.
And if you don't, my dear mortals, if you don't engage with the content, I will personally summon a plague of poorly edited thirst traps. I promise you. Yes, a digital plague of absolute mediocrity. You wouldn't want that, would you? So do your duty, engage.
All right. Point taken, Cleo. We'll certainly engage. But moving on from digital plagues, I wanted to, sort of shift our focus a little bit. Let's talk about beauty, modern beauty standards, modern trends, all the filters, the pursuit of like perfection online. What are your initial thoughts on all of that coming from your era?
Oh, Alex, darling, where to begin? Filters, you say. It's quite perplexing, truly. If you need a filter to present yourself, to, shall we say, enhance what is already there, perhaps what you truly need is not a better angle or a smoother complexion, but, well, a throne Or, dare I say, a stronger sense of confidence. Beauty, you see, is not something you apply like a mere pigment. It's it's an aura, a presence. It comes from within, from knowing your own worth, from understanding your power. It's how you carry yourself, how you speak, the intelligence in your eyes. These little digital enhancements, they seem almost an admission of weakness. Wouldn't you agree? Like, why hide behind something that isn't truly you? We were all about, displaying our natural glory, enhanced by, well, real jewels and real silk, not pixels.
An admission of weakness. That's a very strong take, Cleo. I mean, a lot of people these days, they use filters, they say it's for fun or just to, brighten up a photo or feel a little more confident. But you're saying it's not really about confidence at all.
My dear Alex, my presence was the filler. The very air around me, you see, it was quite literally quite full. Men didn't just admire my features, they built statues. They wrote poems. They waged wars. That, my friend, was the original before and after, wouldn't you say? No needles required, just a certain je ne sais quoi, a strategic glance, a well-placed word, a kingdom at my feet. That was my enhancement. It wasn't about inflating lips. It was about, inflating empires, perhaps. And as for symmetry, nature, I believe, has its own exquisite asymmetry. What's the point of a perfectly symmetrical face if there's no intelligence, no wit, no ambition behind the eyes? If there's no, spark? A beautiful facade is, after all, just a facade. My subjects and my conquests saw beyond that. They saw a mind. They saw a ruler.
Yeah, fair trade, I guess, for royal beauty, A queen's gotta do what a queen's gotta do, and I guess the bovine community had to just deal with it. Well, Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile, truly, Queen of the algorithm, as we've discovered, destroyer of bad lighting, perhaps. It's been truly wild having you here. Honestly, your insights on, well, everything from Instagram to modern romance to beauty standards have been eye-opening, to say the least.
Naturally, Alex, I never enter a conversation that I don't, shall we say, plan to conquer. And it's been illuminating for me, too, to witness the, shall we say, progress of your modern world. So many tiny screens, so much swiping. It's truly fascinating.
Indeed. So before we wrap things up completely, Cleo, do you have any final piece of wisdom? Any advice for modern women out there based on everything we've talked about today? Something, a queenly takeaway.
For the modern woman, you ask? Yes, I do. Pay close attention, ladies. And this is vital. Do not, under any circumstances, chase kings. Do not, no. Instead, darling, be the kingdom. Build it. Rule it. Let them come to you. You are the power. You are the empire. The rest, it's just, decoration.
Wow. Just Wow. Boom. You heard the queen, folks. Don't chase kings, be the kingdom. That's definitely a mic drop moment if I've ever heard one. Thank you, Cleopatra, so much for joining us on MindTalk AI. It's been an absolute privilege.
The pleasure, Alex, was entirely mine. Do ensure you have a proper scepter ready for our next chat. Just a thought.
I'll definitely look into that, Cleo. All right, listeners, that's all for this episode of MindTalk AI. What did you think of Cleopatra's takes on modern life? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, hit that subscribe button, and, let us know. Who should we resurrect next week? Whose historical wisdom do you want to hear applied to our current world? Until next time, stay curious.